making connections to the world. Empowering language on humanity. Let's bring the world of learning in one channel. Welcome to Visitors Comprehension's English TV.
Hello everyone! Again, this is Mom Pearl, your grade 7 English teacher. Oops! This time, I will not be alone because someone from grade 7 English teacher will join me in helping you with the lesson. Let us all welcome Mom Alin.
Hello everyone! I am Mom Alin, and just like Mom Pearl, I am also your grade 7 English teacher. Because it is my first appearance here, let me welcome myself to our English Learning Hub. How are you today? Have you finished answering all the activities in week 3? Good job! Now, we are going to talk about week 4. So brace yourself, watch, listen, and learn. For today's lesson, we are going to talk about the various influences or factors in literary selection.
If you remember well, we talked about oral language on the previous week, which is week 3 on your English module. There, we talk about the 6 areas in which we can effectively communicate ourselves and ideas through speaking. Not only that, we also learned that it is important for us to express ourselves in a way that we can be understood really well, so that we can avoid conflicting of ideas.
Now, week 4 is connected with week 3 in a way that it can deepen your understanding about how we can orally communicate based on the situation and the different people we are speaking with. For example, the regional differences. Philippines, our nation is consist of many regions. Particularly, region we live, which is Southern Tagalog region, has a unique identity, especially as the Batangueños. Sabi nga, nagpapaliwanag lamang ay parang galit na galit. And because we are already used to it, we think that it's just normal. However, can you imagine a Batangueño and a person from Visayan region engage in conversation? If you think there is nothing wrong listening to them, then it means that you are a person who values diversity. Yes, diversity or differences of people from different regions is an important part of the culture and community.
For the most essential learning competency, explain how a selection may be influenced by culture, history, environment, or other factors. Before we continue, again, please remember that you need your modules ready right next to you. I suggest that you scan it, take a look at the activities there, so you can write down your answers on your paper to be submitted to your English teachers.
Day 1. Are you ready to do it? Now, let's get started. Learning Task 1. I believe. Read and analyze the sentences below. Color the box if you agree on the statement written inside it. But wait! Before you do this activity, let me remind you that you have to answer this part based on the knowledge that you have. No pressure! Just read each statement with understanding and answer based on your knowledge. Lastly, make sure that you already copied this on an intermediate paper so that you can just color as the direction says. Philippines has a rich cultural history. Second, selections give us a clear picture of our forefathers' way of life, their beliefs, and ideas. Next, it is a Filipino culture when we remember dead loved ones. Then, mat weaving was a woman's work, a tradition that had been around for ages. And selections help you realize the importance of cultural history. Again, if you will agree, you need to color this statement. Any shade of color will do. Finish? Now, you can keep your intermediate paper so that you can check later whether your answer is correct or not. For the meantime, let's talk about culture.
By definition, culture is the word for the way of life of groups of people, meaning the way they do things. Culture is seen in people's writing, religion, music, clothes, cooking, and in what they do. Some culture plays significant value in things. Philippines is abundant in culture and rich in the family. As we can observe, some families have traditions and values that they have inherited from their forefathers, which until now they have observed and followed. Philippine heritage is an evidence of our cultural history and development. It reflects our shared values and the tangible fruit of Filipino excellence and creativity. A Filipino society that values and preserves its cultural heritage instills pride in place and strengthens Philippine national identity. Find out the Philippine cultural history embedded in the following story.
So as part of this lesson, through a story that you are about to read, we are going to find out the Philippine cultural history embedded in it. To give you a bit of a background, it is a story written by one of the meritorious literary Filipino artists, Francisco Arceliana. This story depicts a typical Filipino family culture. It portrays close family relationship, respect for the elders, and remembering our loved ones who already passed away. Moreover, while reading this story, you are going to find the answer to the question, how does each family member value each other? Lastly, please be reminded of the questions that you are going to answer in Learning Task 2. Read between the lines. Read the selection below, then answer the comprehension questions that follow. The title of the story is The Mats by Francisco Arceliana. About the author, Francisco Arceliana was a highly regarded poet, essayist, critic, journalist, and teacher. He was proclaimed a National Artist of the Philippines in 1990 and was given a state funeral. Here is the summary of the story. For the Angeles family, Mr. Angeles' homecoming from his periodic inspection trips was an occasion for celebration. But his homecoming from a trip to the south was fated to be more memorable than, say, of the others.
He had written from Maribelas, I have just met a marvelous mat weaver, a real artist, and I shall have a surprise for you. I asked him to weave a sleeping mat for everyone in the family. He is using many different colors, and for each dominant color is that of our respective birthstone. I am sure that the children will be very pleased. I know you will be. I can hardly wait to show them to you. Nana Emilia read that letter that morning again and again every time she had a chance to leave the kitchen. In the evening, when all the children were home from school, she asked her oldest son, Jose, to read the letter at dinner table. The children became very much excited about the mats and talked about them until late into the night. These thoughts made her robe her husband. 4 days after that, mats continued to be the chief topic of conversation among the children. Mr. Angeles traveled to southern Philippines and brought mats for his wife and children. Each mat has the corresponding name of all his living offspring. even those who already died. When he arrived home from his trip, he presented the mats to his family. The sorrow heightened when the last 3 mats he opened are for his dead children, who made his wife reacted with grief. At that point, Mr. Angeles cried with pain while telling his wife that the 3 mats were for Josefina, Victoria, and Concepcion. He added that his 3 dead children must always be in their memory, no matter where they are now.
And now, you are ready to answer the comprehension questions. Write your answer on your paper. Number 1. What is the title of the story you have just read? 2. Who is the author of the story? 3. Who are the main characters in the story? 4. What made Mr. Angeles a good father in the story? 5. What did Mr. Angeles bring to each of the family member? 6. How did Mr. Angeles remember departed loved ones in the family? 7. Is making mats or banig part of our history and tradition? Is using mats or banig part of our culture? What particular area of our country is famous for mat weaving?
Well done! Now, we are ready to talk about various influences or factors in literary selection. First, cultural influence may be demonstrated through human behavior, vocabulary or language use, human emotions or perspective, and material items. For example, the Filipino strong family ties, buying souvenirs or pasalubong for loved ones when traveling to far places, remembering the departed loved ones like every November 1st, and the passion we put into creating something. Next, history. A branch of knowledge that records and explains past events connected with studying or representing things from the past. It is about what has happened in the life or development of a people, country, institution, and many more. For example, like how our ancestors traded with foreigners in the ancient time. They used to trade without using money. Or how our ancestors survived the colonizers in the past. These are just examples of what we can read in any Philippine history reading materials.
Next, environment. The environment can facilitate or discourage interactions among people. It can influence people's behavior, mood, and motivation to act. For example, in the past, great part of our land is agricultural, but due to the increase of human population over time, a lot of people converted some agricultural lands into residential lands. Making sons and daughters, all farmers became degree holders and no longer willing to work as farmers like their ancestors. Next, economic. Giving good value or return in relation to the money, time, or effort expended. For example, in the story we read, Mr. Angeles' job called him to travel from one place to another. He bought mats to a local weaver as pasalubong for his loved ones. The mat weaver had money in exchange of his craftsmanship. You have just heard the various influences or factors in literary selection. Such influences give students like you exposure to different reading materials taking regards to story writers' writing style, purpose, and form. So it is important that you know how to analyze a story for you to be able to understand the underlying message of it.
This time, let's do day 2 of the lesson. But before that, let's do some recap. Again, what are the influences or factors in literary selection? Can you name them all? That's right, they are culture, history, environment, and economic factors. Now, let's do the next activity. Learning task number 3. Evaluating authors' influences. Read the text below taken from short stories. Identify how the author's human situations and experiences are moving him to write such lines. Tell whether this could be influenced by culture, history, environment, or economic factors. Ready? Now, let's do it. Okay, number 1. But even a Filipino town fiesta must and does come to an end, and the Filipino host and hostess finally find relief when the last visitor has gone and the front gate is closed. But their relief is not complete. There are still the little gifts that they have to give to their relatives and friends from out of town who have come to help them give gargantuan feast. Taken from the Town Fiesta by Ivy Malyari. What do you think? Is it culture, history, environment, or economic? Okay, number 2. Thus, only 9. The girl had been left alone in the world, and Jose's Tao's father-in-law, something of a deputy governor in those remote regions, had brought the little orphan to town. From Patricia of the Green Hills by Maximo D. Ramos. Is it culture, history, environment, or economic? Okay, number 3. I think of how hard you worked to finish my studies. I believe I have not wasted my time. Brother dear, if the fruits are bitter, it is not my fault, but the 12-fold of circumstances. I know that you have suffered much for my cause. I regret it deeply. From Rizal's last letter to his brother. Is it culture, history, environment, or economy? Okay, number 4. One day, David took us to his house. His mother was very kind. Then she gave us food, hot chocolate, and suman, and some preserves that she said had come from Pampanga. From The Stranger by Ivy Malyari. Is it culture, history, environment, or economy? And number 5, Dodong said while his mother was out that he was going to marry Tiang. There it was out, what he had to say and over which he had done so much thinking. From Footnote to Youth by Jose Garcia Bull. Is it culture, history, environment, or economic? Before we end, please check if you have written your answers to each item. You may also go back to your learning activity sheets to review each item, and feel free to change your answer if necessary.
Day 3. Have you ever made a slogan before? Probably, because slogan making is a very good activity. Because it lets you express a message using musical tones or rhyming words to get the attention of your target readers. Your next activity has something to do with slogan making. Learning Task 4. #FamilyFeels. Create a slogan that promotes unity in your family during the pandemic. You may copy the design in this slide. Or you can apply creativity to make your slogan more attractive and artistic. Remember that the slogan should be about promoting unity among your family members during the pandemic. Good luck!
Day 4. This time, you are going to show your understanding by writing a summary of what you have learned in this lesson. Learning task 5. Now I know. Give a brief summary of the lesson that you learned in this module. Sum it up by using the graphic organizer below. Write a short description for each. Based from the module, I have learned that there are 4 different influences being mentioned that somehow affect the story. These are the following. Grade 7, there is no need for you to worry about the graphic organizers to be used because you can use the ready-made graphic organizer for you. So we have their various influences, and on the 4 boxes, you're going to write there the different influences or factors in literary selection. Now let's do learning task 6, learning tracer. Identify the correct answer for the following statements. Choose your answer from the box. So number 1. It is the legacy of physical artifacts that are inherited from past generations, maintained by the present and bestowed for the benefit of the future. So you can choose your answers from the words inside the box. Okay, number 2. Every aspect of our present is greatly influenced by our bank and environment we are associated with. Choose your answer from the word inside the box. Okay, number 3. These are important to the study of historical heritage because they provide concrete basis for ideas. Number 4. The blank and cultural resources are conserved for its continuous use in the future. And last number 5. Through the nation's blank effort, tying the world's cultural heritage may be possible.
Congratulations! You have successfully gone through week 4 of quarter 3. Now, all you have to do is to review your answer and make sure that you did not leave any task unanswered. Good job! If you have comments or suggestions, you may reach out your teacher through text message, call, or social media apps. You may leave a comment on this video and we will try our best to answer your queries. And lastly, don't forget to hit subscribe and like our videos. You can also share this video so that others can also watch and learn. And for our week 5,
wait for the next video coming up very soon.
just relax
And take your time.
Bye! See you in our next session. Happy learning!